Can Bitcoin get to 500K in this cycle? Is that even possible, or is this clickbait? What is this? Why are people talking about the 500K level? Well, in this video I will talk about the short and long-term potential of Bitcoin, and I will finally answer the question: is 500K possible? Well, first let's look at the short term. The Bitcoin is currently going down. You'll probably see this video in 3 days and the price might be different, it might be not. I actually expect the price to start pumping on Monday, so if that does happen, then I will not be surprised. We are not even at the 0.382 extension, the Fibonacci extension, so Bitcoin still could theoretically go down a lot. It could even go down to the 50% extension at 44K. I know a lot of people probably won't like that, but it is possible and it can happen. My wave count for this chart right now is that we went 5 waves up to end this first wave, then we went down in an ABC to finish the second wave, and now we are in a third wave of the third wave, which I believe will end at the beginning to middle of next year. So yeah, I don't believe this third wave is in. I still think this will go on until like 100K before we get a fourth wave of the main third wave. Remember, this is Bitcoin we are talking about. We should expect crazy prices and crazy price action. Right now, what we are experiencing right here is pretty normal for Bitcoin. We just had the Bitcoin halving, and you probably seen this in other videos. In the first 2 months after the Bitcoin halving happens, we don't really do anything. We just go sideways. That's what usually happens. And this cycle is no exception. I mean, look at this. We've been in a sideways price action for the past, let's say, I don't know, even 5 months, maybe 4 months, something like that. And I honestly, I expect this to end soon, maybe in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I really want to see that 100K level soon. I actually expect to see that until the end of the year. But that might be a bit too late if we really want to go to that 500K level. I will talk about that in a minute. So yeah, that's the short-term potential of Bitcoin. Now let's talk about the long-term, because if you zoom out, I mean, come on, look at this. Do you really get scared by these small wicks when you zoom out? What is happening right now is very normal. And in my opinion is nothing compared to some other crazy wicks we got right here. So please, if you get scared so quickly, maybe crypto is not for you. Because here, I mean, we always get these dips during bull markets. I don't know why people are acting surprised. Anyways, let's see what happened in the previous cycles. So I took the price of the halving, of the first halving, and as you can see, after the halving, the price went up 9,610%. In the second cycle, I did the same thing. I took the price of the halving, and as you can see, the price went up 3,000%, which is 3 times less than what we got right here. And after the third halving, we went up 750%, which is 4.04x less than what we got in the previous cycle. But why does this number keep rising? What is wrong with it? And is it going to perhaps do something like this in this next cycle? So are we going to get a maybe 5 times less return on investment after the halving in this next cycle? Because that would put us at around 150% of gains after the halving, which is, let's say, a top of 150K. Is that possible? In my opinion, it's very unlikely that we will only go 150% up. Let me explain. If you can remember, in the previous cycle, before the halving, we actually had the pandemic. And this made the price drop a lot before the halving, which made the halving price a lot lower than, in my opinion, what would have been if the pandemic did not happen. And that's why, compared to the first 2 cycles, the third cycle got less return on investment, and it got 4 times less gains than the previous cycle, even though the second cycle only got 3 times less return on investment after halving than the first cycle. In my opinion, if the pandemic did not happen, we would probably have gone up the same percentage as we did right here. So here we did 9,600%, and here we did 3,042%. And if you can remember, that's let's say 3.16x less return on investment after each halving. If we take this number right here, 3,042, and we divide it by 3.16, we'll get 962. And I believe 962% is what we were supposed to go up in the previous cycle. So in my opinion, we were supposed to go up to the 86K level, but we didn't because of the pandemic. Obviously, that's just speculation. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I mean, I don't see why it could not be correct. This would have been way more realistic. So let's say in this cycle, the price will go up 3.16 times less than what it went up in the previous cycle. Where would that put us? Well, if we take this number and we divide it by 3.16, we get 300%. We'll put the price at about 239K. So let's keep this on the chart, and I want to show you something else. I took the trend-based Fibonacci extensions of every single cycle, and as you can see in the second cycle, in the cycle that happened after the 2016 halving, we actually went above the 4.618 Fibonacci extension. And in the cycle after that, if we zoom in, we'll see that we went to the 3.618 Fibonacci extension, well, the trend-based Fibonacci extension. And then we got rejected by it, and we went in a bear market. And the 4.618 extension would have been at 89K. And that's exactly where I think, at least in my opinion, the price would have gone if the pandemic did not happen. So again, we would have gone to the 4.618 Fibonacci extension, just like we did in this cycle. I mean, we went above it in this cycle, and for Bitcoin, that would have been normal. So could we see something like this happening again? If we were to go to the 4.618 extension, that would put us at 321K. Of course, we could even go above it. We did that in the previous cycle in 2017. So we know that it is possible. We know that Bitcoin does not really respect these levels. But these are levels that you can watch because, as you can see, Bitcoin respected them right here in the previous cycle. So it might happen again in this cycle. Obviously, not financial advice. This is just my opinion. You should do your own research. But yeah, this is very, very interesting. Let's get rid of these trend-based Fibonacci extensions and let's look at the Fibonacci retracements. After the 2012 halving, as you can see, the price went above the 4.618 Fibonacci retracement. Then, in the next halving, it also went above the 4.618 extension, well, after the next halving. And then after that, in this previous cycle, we went above the 3.618 extension, and in my opinion, we would have gone again to the 4.618 extension at least, or even above it, if it weren't for the pandemic. So in this cycle we went above it, in this cycle we went above it, and in this cycle we would have gone above it, in my opinion. So could we see something similar in this cycle? If we take the Fibonacci retracement of the previous all-time high and the bear market low, this is what we get. So if we were to go at the 4.618 extension again, that would put us at $262,000. So you see, no matter how you look at it, we always end up in the same region right here. I mean, look, the price, in my opinion, will most likely top between 321K and 262K. I don't see how 500K is possible in this cycle unless we get a cycle like we got in 2017. But right now I do not see that happening. If it happens, then of course I'll be happy about it. But right now, a target that I have, a very bullish price prediction, and something very normal for Bitcoin would be to go above this 4.618 level of the Fibonacci retracement and get to the trend-based Fibonacci extension of 4.618 at 321K before dropping into a bear market. Now let's get rid of these for now. I want you to look at this trend line I have on this chart. So if we take this high and this high, we'll see that this high, the third high, did not really go to the trend line, which could be bearish in my opinion. So if this was to happen again, we could see the cycle topping at around, let's say, 350K to touch this line right here rather than this one. Just because I have two trend lines on this chart, because I don't know if this one is still accurate. Maybe we're making a new one. So we can, in my opinion, we can either go to this level right here at 320K or let's say 336K by October of 2025, or in a more bullish scenario, I mean, it would not be possible in my opinion, but if we really wanted to test this again, we would have to go to $5 million. Obviously, that's, in my opinion, too much for this cycle. Maybe we will get there in like 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years, but not in this cycle. But I could see a break above this trend line right here, and that could take us to 500K. Obviously, that would be very, very bullish, and it would break this trend line that's been going on for the past 7 years. That would be new for Bitcoin to break these crazy trend lines. So yeah, that's all I have for today. In my opinion, the price will most likely top around here and will try touching this trend line. And yeah, we'll probably get above this 4.618 level because we always do. Well, we didn't do it over here, like I said, because of the pandemic, at least in my opinion. But we should get at least above this 3.618 extension at 255K. So for those wondering, no, the cycle is, in my opinion, not over. We still have a long way to go until it is over. Also, do not forget, most of the games happen after the halving and in the year after the halving. So you're probably going to have to wait until next year to see crazy price action. Of course, I still expect the price to go up to 100K this year, but I don't expect it to go to like, let's say 150K to 200K this year. That's probably too soon. But yeah, expect crazy price action next year, or maybe at the end of this year. As we all know, most of the action that's happening in bull markets is happening at the end of the year. So yeah, expect crazy price actions and at the end of this year maybe, and then expect the cycle to end by October of 2025. So yeah, that's my Bitcoin price prediction. I don't think it will go to 500K, but if it does, then I'm not going to be surprised. But it will be interesting because we will break this trend line right here. So let's see what happens. I will make sure to update you every couple of days to see if we get any kind of sign that this right here has bottomed and we can finally continue the third wave of the main third wave. But for now, that's all I have. Consider checking out my Patreon for extra content and for getting to watch these videos earlier. Anyways, that's it. Subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next video.